We are now only a few days away from the NBA trade deadline. The deadline is on the 25th. Today is the 22nd, and today I'm just sitting here, no background, just me talking about some rumors, some potential moves that we could see over the next few days. First off, as mentioned by the title of the video, we need to talk about the Orlando Magic, as I think they could be one of the most active teams at the deadline. But before we get into it, if you guys do enjoy this type of NBA content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I make 5 to 7 or more NBA content videos per week. Trade machines, trade news, reactions to trades, thoughts on different teams, players, and my thoughts on how some of these players have played, how they continue to grow, and similarly for teams. If that is something you guys are interested in, feel free to subscribe down below. And if you guys do enjoy this particular video, feel free to leave a like down below and let me know your thoughts on the upcoming trade deadline and some of the moves you expect or would like to see. With that being said, let's get right into it with the first rumor I want to talk about today, and that is about NIKOLA VUCEVIC of Orlando. And that rumor specifically is that Orlando would only trade NIKOLA VUCEVIC for a JRUE Holiday level trade package. Now, if we remember, that JRUE Holiday trade was a combination of 3 first-round picks and pick swaps, as well as Eric Bledsoe as the main pieces going back to the Pelicans. So that is a hefty return. That would be, say for example, that Portland wanted him. They would be potentially giving up 3 first-round picks / pick swaps, along with Enes Kanter in pieces to match salaries. That's a lot of capital to give up for NIKOLA VUCEVIC, and there's no doubt NIKOLA VUCEVIC is an all-star. He's a great player, and I'd love to see him on a winning team, but I don't know if NIKOLA VUCEVIC as your second best guy on a team necessarily creates a winning team. Maybe a third, but probably not a second. And is he worth that much future assets? That remains to be seen. We haven't seen him in a winning scenario, so this is just all hypothetical. We really don't know. But nonetheless, in my opinion, is a very large trade package that Orlando would want. Obviously, they're going to ask for high and then negotiate, but nonetheless, even that as an initial asking price, I think is quite hefty myself. But it'll be interesting to see if anyone is willing to bite on a NIKOLA VUCEVIC trade. With that being said, while also staying in Orlando, the report has come out that Aaron Gordon has requested a trade from the Orlando Magic, which is interesting because he's getting good playing time, he's getting much more touches on the ball than he's going to pretty much anywhere else he plays, and the odds are next season when Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac come back, if Vucevic isn't traded, that this Orlando Magic team is probably a playoff team. Now, I'm not saying they're a top half in the Eastern Conference team by any stretch, but they're probably a playoff team with Isaac, Fultz, if they hold on to the team, right? Let's assume the team stays the same, and they have Fultz, Fournier, Ross, Isaac, Gordon, Vucevic. That team's a playoff team, but I suppose the thought process might be for Aaron Gordon here, A, he just doesn't like it in Orlando, B, he wants to play for more of a contender, which I don't know how many contenders are going to be interested in Aaron Gordon, or even have the assets to want to acquire Aaron Gordon, or to be able to acquire Aaron Gordon, period. And then he might also be just thinking, okay, well, everyone's about to get shipped out, I don't want to be here anymore, I don't want to be part of this rebuild, I want to go win. And fair enough, he's been in the league for a few years now, and if the guy wants to go somewhere else, then all the more to him. With that being said, that is going to be enough for Orlando. A few unsurprising rumors that have popped up in the last couple of days. Marvin Bagley and the Kings have mutual interest in parting ways is being reported again. I don't think that's new to anyone else, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see Bagley be dealt at the deadline. What his value is going to be very interesting, with injury concerns, with his defense still being very poor, his offense being hit and miss. He's still a bit of a tweener between a power forward and a center, although they haven't played him a power forward. It's not really a given as to which position is his best position. So there definitely could be some teams like the Raptors, like Boston, or teams that are in need of a center that want to take a chance on a young center that might have interest. It's just going to depend what the asking price is for him. Another interesting trade that we wouldn't have expected to be having this discussion, at least I wouldn't have expected to be having this discussion come this time March. I would have thought when this deal was made back in free agency, that if anything, this was going to be a bad contract that was going to be dealt to get rid of his salary, not to get back assets, and that is Jerami Grant of the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons have received trade offers of multiple first-round picks for Jerami Grant, and yet he is still on the roster. So that lets you know, A, either how much demand there is for him, in which case they can wait for a better offer, or B, how much the Pistons value Jerami Grant and potentially don't want to trade him due to the fact that they value him so much. They think they can get more out of him later. They'd rather him stay on the team for the rebuild. I'm not sure. But if I'm the Detroit Pistons, Jerami Grant has another 2 years left on his deal, and there is no world in which the Detroit Pistons are anywhere near anything other than a bottom end try to get into the playoff team in the next 2 years. It's just not. They're very young. They have some pieces to work around, and they have some pieces that they can potentially, as they continue to acquire more assets over the next couple of years, hope to be a more competitive team 3, 4, 5 years down the road. But that's just not going to happen on Jerami Grant's contract. And sure, you could re-sign him, but again, is he going to be even relevant to the timeline at that point? So if I'm the Detroit Pistons and you can get a good amount of first-round picks or future assets for him right now, I'd be heavily tempted to take those, add to the war chest of young pieces you have in Sadiq Bey and Killian Hayes and then Isaiah Stewart, and all the other first-round picks that you will make over the next couple of years to try and help this team. I think that would be hard to turn down if I'm the Detroit Pistons front office. Another report coming out is that the Hornets are interested in trading for Miles Turner. The Hornets obviously want a center. Cody Zeller is not their center of the future. And they have a lot of nice pieces there. Unfortunately, now LaMelo Ball, of course, is most likely out for the season with a fractured wrist. Moving forward next year, with Terry Rozier, with Devontae Graham, if he stays on the roster, although there are rumors, of course, he will get traded, as he is kind of the third guard and the odd man out there right now, who hasn't been great this season compared to last year. But LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, Malik Monk, PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, and then Cody Zeller as the center. If they add Miles Turner to this group, this is definitely they're already arguably, in my opinion, a playoff team. They might not be now with LaMelo Ball injured, but when healthy they are. And if you add Miles Turner to this group, add more spacing, more three-point shooting, more ability to have that elite rim protection, I think that's going to only raise the ceiling of this team. Problem being is, if I'm the Indiana Pacers, why would they want to trade Miles Turner? I don't quite see where they would have any interest in trading. Turner is still under contract for the next 3 years, so it's not like he's about to expire. So it doesn't completely make sense to me as to why they would want to make that trade. The last rumor I want to talk about here today, which is an interesting one that I wouldn't have expected, but reportedly the Atlanta Hawks are interested in trading Bogdanovic and Cam Reddish. And this is a win-now team. The coach has already been fired. The front office seems fairly aware that if they don't get into the playoffs this year, their job is probably on as well. And there's no doubt there's a bit of a... When this team is healthy, there's a bit of a surplus in talent in the fact that guys like either Bogan, in combination with Gallinari and Cam Reddish, those types of guys, 2 or 3 of those guys have to be on the bench when this team is fully healthy, or on Rondo as well. And so there's probably some guys that are not happy with their playing time when this team is healthy, although they haven't really had that yet, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily a player concern at this point. I would tend to believe it is not. If anything, I would tend to believe it is a move where either Atlanta want to retool and add some different players to the team from the assets they have, or they just want to acquire some more future assets, in which case you wouldn't think they would trade away Cam Reddish. So I'm really not sure what the thought process here from Atlanta. I would have expected that if anything, they would have been buyers at the deadline, with the exception of a potential John Collins trade, due to the fact that they might not want to resign him to a large deal over the summer, but someone sending him a potential max offer sheet this summer. But outside of that, I wouldn't have thought Atlanta would have been too busy at the deadline on a selling standpoint. If anything, if they were going to do anything, it would have been to buy. But right now, it doesn't look that way. If anyone has an idea on why they might be doing this, let me know down below, but it is a bit confusing to me. With that being said, that is kind of the rumors here as we sit here today, a few days away from the trade deadline. I hope we get a few trades starting to swirl through the doors in the next couple of days. And when they happen, you'll be sure to come check the channel, because I will have my thoughts up on those trades, breaking those down, and how that will affect things moving forward. With that being said, I thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one.